Hello everyone. For this pattern, to make these amigurumi turtles, we're going to need just a couple of supplies. First, we're going to start with our yarns. First one that we have, we're actually using just Red Heart yarns. I'm using buff or beige. It's a number 4 weight acrylic yarn. It doesn't use much, so yes, I am using just a partial scrap ball for that. Then I'm also, it was just a Mainstays yarn. It was a darker green color, also a number 4 acrylic. And then I'm also using this Frosty Green, which is a Red Heart acrylic yarn, number 4 weight. We're going to need some polyfill in order to stuff our turtle. We are going to need a darning needle in order to weave in all of our ends, some scissors in order to cut our ends, and a crochet hook. I am using a 3.5 millimeter. You could use a 3 1/4 or a 3 3/4 millimeter crochet hook if you're having a difficult time trying to get the 3.5 millimeter. And then a marker. I just find it's more easy in order to try and find your chain 1 stitch at the beginning of each round, just to be able to find that and make it just slightly easier, less of a pain trying to find it, but that's entirely up to you if you'd like to use that or not. To begin, we're going to start with creating the shell for our turtles. So we're going to start with our dark green yarn. And to begin this, we're going to start by making a magic ring. So hold your yarn between your thumb and forefinger, wrap around your fingers so that our working end is on top. Use our hook and pull up a loop. Now here is where I like to use my marker. Put that around that loop, and then I'm simply going to chain 1. And then what we want to do is into the ring, we want to put 6 single crochets. So you go into the ring and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through in order to create a single crochet. And we want to do 6 of those. Alright, so we have our 6 single crochets. We want to grab our tail for our magic ring and pull it closed, but don't pull it too tight right now, as it sometimes messes up with our first chain 1 of the round. And then we're going to slip stitch right into that first chain 1 of our round in order to join. Alright. I can go ahead and pull that magic ring so it's nice and tight together. And that is round 1. For round 2, what we're going to do is chain 1. And then into each stitch around, we want to put 2 single crochets into each of the 6 stitches. So this round will end up having a total of 12 single crochet stitches made. And then we want to slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And there we have round 2. For round 3, we are going to once again chain 1. Then into our first stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochets. And then into our next stitch, we're going to put 1 single crochet. And we're simply going to repeat that throughout the round 5 more times. 2 single crochets into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch. This row will end up having a total of 18 single crochet stitches. Alright, and then we are going to slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And then we have round 3. For round 4, what we're going to do is once again chain 1. And we're going to put 2 single crochets into our first stitch. And then into our next 2 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet. And we want to repeat that 5 more times throughout this round. 2 single crochets into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And this row will end up having a total of 24 stitches, single crochet stitches made. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And then we have round 4. Then for round 5, we're going to go ahead and chain 1. And then into our first stitch, we want to put 2 single crochets. And then we want to do 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then we just want to repeat that throughout this round 5 more times. 2 single crochets into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. This row is going to end up having a total of 30 single crochet stitches made. And then slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. Now for round 6, what we're going to do is chain 1, Then into our first stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets. And then we're going to want to put 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And then we're just going to repeat that throughout the entire round. 2 single crochets into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And this row is going to have a total of 36 single crochet stitches made. And then we slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And there we are, we have round 6. Now for round 7, what we're going to do is chain 1, and then we want to single crochet into each stitch around. So we're going to have a total of 36 single crochet stitches. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. So there we have round 7. For round 8, we're going to do just a repeat of round 7. So chain 1, and then single crochet into the next 36 stitches. and then slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And then for round 9 is just another repeat, so chain 1 and then single crochet into the next 36 stitches. And then we're going to slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. Now round 10 is once again the same thing as a repeat. So chain 1 and then single crochet into each stitch around. So 36 single crochets. Alright, and then slip stitch into your first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And now for round 11, we're going to chain 1 and then working in front loops only, we're going to single crochet into each stitch around, so 36 single crochets, but only into the front loops. And then slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. And then we're going to go ahead and tie off on that green. And then we're going to switch to our underbelly color, whereas I'm using is the beige. And we're going to attach that right into that same chain 1 or slip stitch where we joined. All right. And now we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to simply single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And this is working in both loops again. Back to working in both loops, and this row will have 36 single crochet stitches. And then we want to slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn them inside out a little bit right there so that we see this little lip from where we did our front loops only. That creates a little edge of his shell onto our design. Alright. And now for row 13, we will chain 1, and then we want to single crochet decrease. So go into your stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and come through all 3. So then we want to do a single crochet decrease and then single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And then we just want to repeat that 5 more times. Single crochet decrease, single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And then slip stitch into your first chain one of the round in order to join. And now for round 14, we will chain one, then we're going to single crochet, decrease, and then single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then we just repeat that 5 more times, single crochet, decrease, and then single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And then slip stitch into your first chain one of the round in order to join. And now for round 15, we're going to chain one, then we're going to single crochet, decrease, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And we're just going to repeat that 5 more times for this round. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then we'll slip stitch into our first chain one of the round in order to join. And now for round 16, we'll chain one, and we're going to single crochet, decrease, and then single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that 5 more times. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet into the next stitch. and then slip stitch into our chain 1 stitch of the round in order to join. And now here we're going to take some of our polyfill and start stuffing the shell of our turtle. You can use as much or as little stuffing as you want. All right, and now for row 17, we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to single crochet decrease a total of 6 times around the opening. All right, and then pull our loop up, cut off our yarn, and slip stitch into our first chain 1 of the round in order to join. Pull a loop, remove our marker, and then with our darning needle, thread our yarn into our darning needles. And then I like to add a little bit of cross stitches going across the opening just to make sure it's good and secure and I don't lose any stuffing out of my turtle. Then we'll just go ahead and weave in our ends. You might weave these in a lot better. I'm just trying to hurry up and show you. And then we also have this little top piece to go ahead and weave in also. And there we have our shell for our turtle.